Welcome. Welcome to Women Igniting Their Wildfire podcast, where we dive into inner child healing, shadow work, and spiritual connection to make life sacred again. I'm calling in the spiritual warriors ready to up-level. We are the cycle breakers, the way makers, the ones here to blaze our own path forward. I am your host, Chelsea Wildfire, women's soul guide, shadow alchemist, and fire starter, here to let you up. Now let's get started. Today we're going to talk about forgiveness, finding forgiveness within, and opening up to allow that so we can have more forgiveness for ourselves and others, and more self-love, more joy, more freedom, really. I feel like freedom is a big aspect of it, that when we can find forgiveness, we can finally have more freedom in life and in our love, in our openness, and our vulnerability, right? If we feel stuck and unable to forgive or to let go of things, we're not going to let ourselves be vulnerable. We're not going to share and open up as much. We're not going to allow in more. So we're going to go deep on that today. I just want to say right now with a couple announcements. So I am still taking a couple applications. I have some applications available and open to have another woman join Break the Cycle. I'm excited to share with you ladies and guide you through too and talk more deeper with it so you understand and get a vibe for what we do every time, or what I do. So if you've been wanting to work with me, wanting to know what feminine embodiment coaching is like, what it means, what it feels like, how it is to experience that, send me a message if you are interested. I'd love to have you. And spots are going to fill up fast, and the scheduling is going to fill up fast. So do it while you can and reach out. I want to also say just thank you. I'm grateful for everybody for being here today. And let's talk about forgiveness. I believe self-love has to start with forgiveness. To love ourselves and accept ourselves, we have to forgive the past, forgive our old identity, forgive who we used to be, forgive the actions and the things we did when we were in our pain stories and anger, forgive the past versions of ourselves that was stuck in the trauma and the pain that we experienced. We act out when we're stuck in our pain. We do things, we say things when we aren't feeling safe in our body, when we aren't happy or, connected to ourselves. So finding that forgiveness is really the first step to opening up and allowing ourselves to feel it. So I want to say right away that forgiveness is not saying what happened was okay. It doesn't mean that you give a million chances and just allow it or let yourself get walked all over. It doesn't mean that you can continue to be around that person if somebody keeps doing the same thing. It doesn't mean to get all walked over. What it means is to let go of the anger, the resentment, letting go of the pain that you're holding on to that is just taking your power away, taking your strength away. It's not helping or hurting anybody else. Nobody else really knows there needs to be forgiveness. They aren't really being affected by it. So it's really us that's getting hurt and affected by not letting go. I have been on my journey with healing and self-love and forgiveness for a while, and I realize I still, layer by layer, have to find more self-forgiveness. So that's why we're here. We're going to start with ourselves. Let me see if this resonates with you. Do you feel like there's self-forgiveness, or do you need to go right to finding forgiveness for others? And that forgiveness does not mean what happened was okay. Some of the steps to forgive. The reason I'm doing this is a coaching session a couple of days ago. A woman was like, Chelsea, I just need to find forgiveness. Like, I don't know how to forgive. And it was a lot about forgiving herself for what she put up with, what she allowed, what she kept going back to. And, this could be in relationship, this can be at home, with family members, at work. But when we let other people walk all over us or sacrifice ourselves to feel a value to them, we have to forgive ourselves for allowing that and realize that that comes from a lack of self-worth and self-trust and strength within ourselves. So we have to find the space within to build ourselves up. So forgiveness of the past and processing and letting go of the past, and then doing the practices and the tools and working on self-trust and building up your self-worth so you can hold better boundaries and say no and not allow these people or these things to continue to happen. And especially with all the pain that we carry, if we aren't processing it or feeling it and letting ourselves move on from it, we're going to continue going back to the people and the habits and the things that keep us numb from feeling it. So the first step is going to be to take a break from thinking about it. Take a break from letting it be your main focus and focusing on the pain and what happened and, well, this happened to me, so I can't do this. Like that victim stance, taking a step back from that, consciously forgetting, letting yourself kind of put it to the back burner as you focus on what makes you happy, on your habits, on the parts of you that needs the space and time to heal and go back to you. So is it yoga or dancing or painting? Is it plants? Is it walking? Is it going in nature, traveling? What things do you need to strengthen yourself to find that happiness within? And then keep doing that and continue to not focus and make this thing the forefront. Keep that distance and allow yourself to let go of the need to punish or the need to harbor and hold the resentment for this person. Allowing this conscious forgetting is to just move it to the background and let yourself focus on some of the good things, because what we focus on is what persists, right? Where energy go or where focus goes, the energy flows. So you're doing these things to strengthen yourself. You're starting to focus on yourself, on your own healing. The understanding that hurt people hurt people. So other people who have done this, it's because they are hurting. It's not saying it's okay, but they are hurting. So then I invite you to find something that can show you that it's okay, that you are allowed to drop this, to let the earth take it, giving it to the earth, to let the earth take the anger, the sadness, the resentment, whatever it is. Like, do a ceremony and break down and cry and write out and yell and scream into a pillow and do all the things you need to do to let go of the feelings that's attached to this situation or person or the things you've done in the past, the habit, so that it can be slowly, layer by layer, letting go. As you're doing that, create a ceremony and ritual of, okay, I'm leaving this here now. It's time to let it go. It's okay to let it go, and giving it to the earth and creating ceremony around it. I do a lot of sharing and helping people create altars and create ceremonies because we need to bring sacredness back into our life and create something around what it is to really anchored in of letting go, of finding that forgiveness, of being able to give it to the earth and give it away. It's not yours to carry anymore. How long have you been carrying this pain, this person, what's happened in the past? How long have you been carrying it around? This is your ability and your reminder that it's okay to let it go. This is permission to start processing, let go of the past. If we're so busy looking in the past and holding on to that, we're not going to be able to move forward and let ourselves open up and be the women we want to be and feel and love and allow and receive. So I hope that resonates with you. But one other reminder is that you get to decide when you forgive. You get to decide what layer you're at, what place you're at to be able to let there be forgiveness. It's up to you. And I was explaining last night to the girls, it's layer by layer. So the first layer could just be this conversation of like, okay, where do I need to find forgiveness for myself, for others? What does that look like? What is it that I want to forgive myself for? One of the big ones last night was I forgive myself for not loving myself. Or I forgive myself for the habits that I learned to survive. I forgive myself for numbing, for not listening to myself, for not getting out. Do you need to find forgiveness for? Another step would be to write a letter. Write a letter to yourself, to the other person, to whoever's involved, to past relationships around what you want to let go of, what you're forgiving for, what you learned from it, why it's necessary to let it go now. In the Break the Cycles program, I have a whole relationship evaluation, but also a writing out around letters to the mother, to the father, to past people, and how we can let ourselves effectively in a healthy way communicate our feelings and emotions. We can get on the paper and see what that's like. What else did I want to? So we can do that. Ceremonies, writing letters. And it's also the daily reminder of I'm learning to love myself now so I can choose better habits. I am grateful for what I've got to learn. I'm no longer my mistakes of the past. I am ready to move forward. There's a lot that goes into it, and it's daily practice and daily things over and over that we have to continue to do. Thoughts, comments, questions from anybody here watching? I'd love to see in the comments. I just want you to know it is very possible. We can heal, we can forgive, we can let it go. It's not ours to carry anymore. We have to find that so we can get to ourselves, get to how we feel and what we want and need beneath us. I took some time, layer by layer, to move into forgiveness. And I didn't realize at first. At first, I thought it was somebody else I had to forgive and let go of the trauma and the pain and the abuse that happened in the past. But really, when I got to it, it was I have to forgive myself. I have to forgive myself for allowing, for not believing in my worth, for not choosing me, for not listening to my intuition. That's the part that I'm like, oh, that's what I was missing. So I'd love, if you're tuning in right now, to place a hand on the heart, a hand on the womb space. Close your eyes if it's safe for you to do so. Breathing in, feeling into the heart, saying out loud that I am allowed to forgive myself. I am ready to forgive myself. I am ready to move on from the past. I'm ready to love myself more. I'm allowed to move on. I'm learning new ways to love myself, to build myself up. I am worthy of all the love I can imagine. I forgive myself for who I used to be. I forgive myself for the anger and the sadness that I threw at other people. I forgive myself for holding on to the pain for so long. I forgive myself for the past, and I'm ready to move forward. Keeping it short and simple, I'd love for you to write a letter tonight. Write it out. What do you want to release? What do you want to forgive yourself for? Write yourself a love letter of how much you love yourself and how strong you are and who you are today because of what you've learned, and that it's okay to let go of the anger and the sadness. You can still remember and know what has happened so that you don't allow it again. It's not just forgetting completely. It's not about forgetting. It's about consciously choosing to move it to the background, letting it take up very little space, but just as a reminder and a guidance of what not to allow, or what red flags to watch for, or what is possible if you don't listen to yourself. So shifting the story into how you are strong from it and what you can learn and how you can feel better now. I hope that resonated with you. Thank you for showing up.
Thank you so much for listening and being here. If you really like this, share it with one of your best friends. Tag somebody that you know needs to hear this. Find me on social media, Instagram and Facebook. It's pretty easy to find Chelsea Wildfire. Can't wait to connect with you there. If you want to know about my retreats, my events, and my coaching programs, check the link below to sign up for my email list, and we can begin this journey together.